Most players watching this will be stuck on a plateau. They might not even know it yet, but their rating is jumping around the same narrow range. The problem, though, isn't really just the number. The sad thing is that they're making the same moves over and over with the same stale ideas and, of course, the same mistakes. We see it in GMs and we see it in 1200s. It's really the same thing. Now, let me turn you on to something you already know. Thinking is hard. I'm not talking about the kind of thinking I have to do when I'm like holding one kid in one arm and kicking the other and making sure the stove doesn't set the house on fire. That's an important kind of thinking, and we need it to survive. But what I'm talking about today is deep thinking. When you have to fit one thought into another, and while you're doing that, you have to hold both of those in your mind while you're searching for a solution. Time passes in that space, and there's some real deep suffering. But there's also joy and beauty and fulfillment. Recently, science found a way to measure how much harder deep thinking is, and they used us GMs as their guinea pigs. It turns out that a GM will use around 6,000 calories when they're playing. An average active person is using only around 2,000. That's how much harder deep thinking is. So, let's state the obvious. If you want to become good at chess, you need to train both your body and your mind to do that deep thinking. And it will be hard. That's something you have to accept from the outset. But now, let me move on and tell you the hardest part. If you want to up your game, you are going to have to acknowledge your weaknesses and your mistakes. And it'll be like therapy. But it's not going to be some soft sauce about how maybe your mom did something to you and it's all the world's fault. Because on the chessboard, it's always just your fault. So, what you're going to have to do is go out and play a game. Play it as hard as you can. Then, you're going to get a score sheet from that game. And all you need then is a pen and a notebook. Maybe get yourself a nice wooden set. That's all you need. At first, you'll only be able to do about a page of analysis for the whole game. And that's because you don't yet have the vocabulary or questions to do more. And that's okay. Gradually, though, you're going to start uncovering the secrets of your openings. How to calculate a difficult middle game, how to approach an ending. And you'll start hearing things you hadn't heard before when you listen to strong players talk about their games. Because you can take those concepts and apply them to your own chess. You can make them your own. But most importantly, when you find yourself about to make the same old mistakes that you've been making for years, all of a sudden big red flares are going to go up in the sky and they're going to stop you. They're going to stop you and make you think twice about going down that same warm path. Because what happens with all of us is our mind starts walking around in circles. And if we do it long enough, that curve is going to deepen. It's going to deepen into a trench. And before too long, that trench is going to be so deep that we can't see over it. And every chess player has been there. They know what it feels like. Because when you can't see over the edge anymore, that's when chess starts to feel uninteresting and dull. But maybe it's not the game who has become dull. And analyzing our own games is the only way to get out of that rut.